In what you would call your spirit of the season, as we recognize it upon your planet, in your culture at this time, specifically, the idea of what you call your Santa Claus. We would like to express the idea of, shall we say, the origin of this idea, and the recognition that there actually, in a sense, and in a certain context, is such a being. In what you would call very ancient recognition of the archetype that exists in your collective consciousness, you will recognize that, as many of your psychologists have begun to understand, an archetypal expression, that is, a representative portion of the collective consciousness of your entire culture, or at least a large portion of it, by no means, in any way, shape, or form, means that it is imaginary, in the sense that it doesn't exist. Archetypes, though in a sense generated by the collective consciousness, do experience autonomy, do know themselves as individuated levels of consciousness, because you are made in the image of the infinite creation, and every thought you have can do nothing but help but create a real reality on some level, in some way. Many of the idea of what you call your nature spirits and other forms of archetypal presentation, mythological beings as such, are in a sense concocted and created by the combined energy of the collective consciousness of your planet, in a sense given life, given breath, given reality, given existence, because they represent a facet or a faction of the collective being that all of you together are. As such, they do, as we have said, have a type of autonomy, a type of individual experience. The idea is that this being that you have come to know in your modern-day language as Santa Claus, in perhaps the older vernacular as Sinterklaas, is really a nature spirit in that sense. And you have, in some senses, I will not mean this necessarily in a negative way, but in some senses distorted some of the original ideas, or shall we say transmuted or translated some of the original energies representative of this being into your modern contexts. In some senses having, shall we say, lost some of the original understanding of what this being was all about, but still to some degree representing the original attributes of this entity. In your understanding of the idea of Santa Claus as a gift giver, this is a more fundamental recognition of the idea of the power of that particular entity, of that nature spirit. And the idea is that it is to some degree representative of the concept of the third law. What you put out is what you get back, the idea of what many of you call the karmic balance, in that, in your modern vernacular, the idea, colloquially put, of not being nice and so getting no presents, or being good and getting favors, is a reflection of the original idea that this was, in a sense, a karmically reflective entity. In other words, it reflected exactly the idea of the energy of any particular entity or individual it encountered. So the idea of negative intention was reflected back as negative experience. Positive intention reflected back as positive experience by this being, by this nature spirit, by this archetypal facet of your collective reality. In many ways, because it is an exemplification of the idea of nature, it expresses, as many ideas of nature spirit do archetypally, many attributes found in nature, in a sense a combination or collection of many attributes found in the idea of the animal kingdom and so forth. So, for example, the idea of what you now have relegated to be the reindeer of Santa Claus is not so much the idea of reindeer pulling a sleigh, but the idea of the association to that particular animal totem, if you will, and also the recognition that the hoof prints left in the snow, in that sense, in many occasions, do not actually belong to the reindeer, but to this entity itself. For it has, in that sense, some of the attributes of the reindeer, including the idea of the hoofs, when it is taking physical form. It does not always exist in the idea of what you would call physical material form. But when it concentrates its energy, or its energy is concentrated by a collective awareness or a collective focus on the part of your people, thus giving it more chance to materialize or crystallize into a sort of solid form in your reality, it does take on the attributes of the idea of nature, including the idea of animalistic attributes from time to time. The idea also is that it exemplifies many other facets and attributes that you have, in that sense, attributed to the idea of Santa Claus. The idea of the red suit, in that sense, is actually the idea of what might be called a cloak of night. But in this sense, the idea of red is that it represents the fundamental lifeblood of the being, and the idea of the vibration of grounded reality and what might be called the root chakra of your energy system. Thus, it is a representation of something very, as you would say, earthy and fundamental in the idea of being rooted into nature, and the representation of the manifestation of gifts and abundance that are all around you in nature. That which was always there for you, always is now, and always shall be. And so on that fundamental level, the idea of the gift-giving idea of nature, represented in this particular archetypal facet or entity. So, do understand that it is actually quite possible, from time to time, when the circumstances warrant it, to actually find yourself interacting in the appropriate state with this actual entity, though you may not recognize it in the way that you have depicted it exactly in your society. You will find that it is actually, shall we say, in a sense, a changeling, a shapeshifter, in that it may present itself in a variety of ways, depending upon, again, what it is reflecting back to you, if and when it is encountered, and also representative in general of the collective, shall we say, spirit or emotional mood of the collective society, whether the whole society or a large group, as it may be occurring at any given moment. So, allow yourself to understand this being does exist, though not always in the way that you may think of it. And in that sense, it is quite possible to encounter this being when you get in touch with the idea of abundance, of nature, in its most fundamental form, in its most well-grounded and earthily rooted form. And when you allow yourself to be out in the idea of the wilderness, from time to time, when conditions are right, this entity can be manifested and can be encountered, just like many other kinds of ideas of spirit contact can manifest and can occur with regard to the natural kingdom of things, as it is representative of that portion of your collective consciousness and a reflection back to you of attributes each and every one of you individually contain.
Good morning, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Speaking of time,
Yes.
my question is about an acknowledgement if, in a sense, there is no time and everything that is happening in this moment,
Yes.
as it were.
Now is all there is.
Yes. So an acknowledgement of that,
Yes.
then it follows that there is, in a sense, no such thing as a new idea. For all ideas, all inventions, all conceptions already exist.
Fundamentally, in terms of the structure, correct. But there is always a new experience of the idea. You see, the structure of existence never changes. It's your perspective and experience of the structure that does. That's how creation expands, because you're always having a unique perspective of the structure that never changes. So the idea of new ideas, it's both. You're correct that everything already exists, but it also expands by creating new experiences of that which already exists. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Does that help?
It does. And following from that,
Yes.
if I or any individual are seeking an answer to a problem or a new way to solve or a new way to be creative,
Yes.
it is not so much a matter that I am creating that new idea, but rather I am somehow attuning to a resonant frequency that is matched with the resonance of that idea.
Yes, and by doing that, you are creating a unique experience of doing that. Not so much that you're creating a new idea, but you're creating a new experience of matching that idea.
So, as an incarnate being,
Yes.
my process was not so much that I've had an idea rather than I have become resonant to the frequencies that allow that idea to come to me. Is that more?
Exactly.
Okay.
You have to be on the vibratory level first in order to realize or experience any particular notion or knowledge. And it's the same with the concept of manifestation physically. You have to be on that frequency level in order to experience a manifestation in your physicalized projection.
And indeed, then, if we extend that in my question to not ideas, which are the rational thought forms, but what we experience as emotions.
Yes.
I assume that the same then must apply to that.
Exactly. It's all based on the same resonance identification concept. And that's why we say what you experience has to be based on a definition that you have bought into as being true, because each definition has a different frequency, a different signature vibration that gives the result that you experience as an emotion.
Okay.
That's why you can always experience an emotion and know you can trace it back to what kind of a definition you would have to have in order for that emotion to have resulted from it, because you can only have the emotion that results from the frequency of the definition.
Indeed. So if I'm experiencing what I might experience as a negative emotion, anger, depression,
Yes.
what have you,
Yes.
what's opening to me then is the opportunity, and this is what's hard to language, to somehow open to or find a different frequency to resonate at, and it's that
Yes.
search for a different resonance
Yes,
that is challenging.
Yes, and the easiest way to do that is to figure out what the definition is you're already buying into that's already creating the resonance you're experiencing. Because once you define consciously, find that definition, if it is truly out of alignment with you, you will immediately recognize it as nonsensical and illogical. And as soon as you do, it's gone. That's the end of the process of letting it go. If you keep behaving the same way, all that means is you haven't actually found the fundamental definition or the fundamental frequency giving rise to that sensation. Just keep digging. Identifying things that are in your unconscious mind that are belief systems is the key to transforming that energy into something you would prefer, because once you actually bring it into the light, you will see that it makes no sense if it really has nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Make sense?
It does. Last part of this.
Yes.
If I look at this same experience then,
Yes.
with becoming attuned to the resonant frequencies that are for my best and highest,
Yes.
then if I look at a physical ailment such as inability to get sound, nurturing sleep,
Yes.
and if underlying that is a belief that I don't deserve rest, as an example,
One
it's
example,
to understand what might be behind that and
Yes.
allow it to change,
Yes.
force it to change, think about it.
No, not force, not force.
I understand. I'm saying that because I don't get what the next step is.
Again, if you actually discover what the definition is, and you bring it into the light of your consciousness, and you recognize that it makes no sense, it's gone.
Okay.
It's just gone. You will not have a continued experience of that definition
Okay.
if you have truly let it go. But you have to understand that sometimes you might not let it go because there might be another belief, another definition that says you should hold on to it. If that's the case, find out what that definition is, because sometimes definitions and beliefs work in chains. You may have to follow the links back to the fundamental link. But once you actually do release the fundamental link, all the secondary links will collapse along with it. Sometimes negative beliefs will attempt to preserve themselves, because that's what they're designed to do, by fooling you into thinking that you've actually let go of the fundamental belief when all you've done is let go of a secondary one. And then it will hide behind that. So you have to experience if you keep feeling, doing the same thing. That would be your first clue that the negative belief is hiding behind a cloud of secondary beliefs. And no matter how many of them you let go of, if you don't let go of the fundamental one, that won't change anything for you.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Blessings, Bashar.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Blessings to you. This is really a very simple mechanism. There is nothing mysterious about it.
Hello, you guys.
And to you, good day.
I'm very excited I came a long physical way to see you.
If you say so.
I followed my...
We came a long long physical way to see all of you.
I wanted to say thank you.
But not really, because everything is here and now.
Right. Well, thank you, and thank you for that adventure.
Yes.
I've always felt that there was maybe 4 or 5 personalities contributing to the personality who I am or appear to be.
Oh, more than that.
And in a recent channeling, I got that there would, and some people can have maybe more or not, but multiple personalities that are very similar but have slightly different situations.
They can be. They can be.
Oh, yes? And broadcasting from the same channel.
In a sense, or something similar that you may not necessarily recognize the difference.
Yes, so is this a thing?
Is that a thing?
I have a friend who was traumatized as a child, and it said that I always thought that there was 3 or 4 personalities contributing to him.
Yes.
But he actually has more like 9 because his little self didn't really want to
The idea that you call on your planet based on what kind of experiences an individual may have may cause a fracturing between the continuity and communication of the different personalities that make up any particular single being. And that's what you typically in your world often refer to as multiple personality disorder or a few other different kinds of names. The idea that we're expressing here in allowing the channel to express some aspect of his own being that connects to us and allows for this communication to occur is simply multiple personality order.
Oh, very good. And so for people who know that they have this going on, they can access those other personalities?
Yes, of course.
Okay, because I think mine were kind of bad. But in that channeling, I also had the information that I was part of an intergalactic introduction. Is that something?
Is that something? Well, in a sense, yes. It's one of the things going on your planet now that you're becoming aware that you're not alone. Therefore, many of you that chose to have this physical experience knew coming in that part of this physical life would contain an ability to open up to the recognition that there are many different beings within the galaxy and other dimensions that are here for you to begin to open up to, communicate with, such as you're doing with us. And that's part of a process of going from what you may call Homo sapien to Homo galacticus.
I love that. So if I'm a part of the intergalactic introduction, how would myself or we be participating consciously in that?
By following your passion to the best you're able with no insistence on a particular outcome. Because then you raise your frequency. And when you raise your frequency, you make yourself a more receptive antenna to higher dimensional communication, and you will have more inspiration and realization of the communication going on a multitude of different dimensional levels that you can tap into and participate in a variety of ways. That's how. The formula is everything. It is the beginning, the end. It is the basis of what we call the instruction manual. The instruction manual is that 3-part formula and all the tools in the kit, and then just choosing to remain in a positive state no matter what happens, so you can always extract the benefit from it. While from time to time, we may engage in conversations with you that may take you into greater depths of understanding, more precise understanding of all of those elements in that particular instruction manual, but there are no more instructions. That's the complete instruction manual, and it is absolutely no different than if we were to hand you, literally, physically, an instruction manual that teaches you how to operate a piece of machinery on your planet. If you follow the instructions, the machine will operate as designed to your advantage. If you do not follow the instructions, the machine will operate to your disadvantage. So the idea is that the machine is always operating. It's up to you to simply understand that what we're giving you is literally a description of how reality works. Therefore, it's literally an instruction manual, and if you simply stick with the instructions, the machine will always work to your advantage instead of your disadvantage. It's that simple. Remember, there is not only positive synchronicity, there is negative synchronicity too. The synchronicity never stops, but it will only be capable of reinforcing whatever vibration you put into the mechanism. Following the instruction manual gives you the benefit of always using the machine to your advantage. That's why we have shared it with you. It's not a philosophy. It's not an opinion. It's an observation and a description of how existence actually works. Just follow the instructions.
Ooh, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for that, and the adventure continues.
Yes, it does, and it will never, ever, ever end. Why will it never end? Because it never began. It just is. That's its nature. It just is.
Good morning, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Thank you. I wanted to, first of all, thank you for being so patient with all of us.
I am not patient at all. I have no need for patience because I'm never impatient. Because I am always absolutely enjoying everything that I choose to do. You are all quite delightful.
Well, thank you for that.
Well, I'll put it more this way. You are all quite lightful.
Okay.
I don't want to delight you.
Okay. I don't really have a real question. Well, observation, kind of a question for you. It feels to me a lot like we're on this exponential curve and we're all getting very close now to what people are calling ascension or just
You're in the
evolution.
process. You're not getting close to it. You're in it.
In it.
Yes, you're in the process. Again, it's just the idea of raising your vibration to a different level so you can experience reality in a different way, in a way that's more in alignment with who you truly prefer to be. That's all ascension is.
So my question to you is, what does that process look like from your perspective?
I just told you.
Okay.
I literally just told you.
Okay.
It's the instruction manual. The process itself. If that's what you mean.
No, I mean the unfolding of it, like the time.
How do we perceive it?
And our perceiving in our timeline, how is it looking from your perspective?
What's the manifestation?
Yes, yeah, maybe that's the question.
All right. Well, what you're experiencing more and more first, as part of this process, is the splitting of your world into a variety of parallel versions of Earth. That's going on right now, quite physically. And that's why you're seeing more and more and more dichotomy in your cultures and societies. As people vibrate to certain ideas, then they will wind up on certain plates or plateaus of reality that are different versions of Earth. And as they split apart, sometimes jaggedly, you will find that you will drift farther and farther and farther apart until one day, in the near future, you will only be able to experience whatever plateau you're on in terms of its effects, in terms of all the people that are there with you. And you will no longer be able to perceive, like you can perceive right now, differences, radical differences, and vibrational incompatibility with anyone else in that reality. Right now, because the splits are new, because it's just beginning to really crack and beginning to pull apart, you can still see different people choosing different realities as if you were looking through glass at their reality. And you literally are. Just because you can see people who might be choosing pathways that are wholly unlike what you would prefer to experience on your planet, doesn't mean you actually still reside on the same version of Earth that they do.
I see.
You are literally looking through a glass sheet, and even though you can still see them and the choices that they make that might be more negative than you would prefer, none of what they're choosing can actually reach you through the glass. But eventually, the glass will become more opaque. And you will only see the reality that you harmonize to, eventually.
We'll just stop perceiving the rest of the...
You will stop perceiving them. They will no longer literally be in your version of Earth. Because you see, again, you never actually change the world you're on. You change yourself, and you shift to another version of Earth that already exists, that's already more reflective of the vibrational change you made within yourself.
Less and less negativity in it.
Yes, if that's what you choose.
Right.
That's how it works. You're never on the same Earth from moment to moment, billions of times per second. This is one of the things you're learning. is that every moment is absolutely new. You are absolutely a new person on absolutely a new earth, in absolutely a new universe, in absolutely a new multiverse, in absolutely a new expression of existence. It's just that you create this illusion of continuity to make it appear as if you're just making small changes on the same planet. That's never the case. Every change is a total change of everything, everywhere. You just trick yourself into believing that that's not the case. But you're getting over that.
I see. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Thank you. Here is something important to understand. All these things that we talk about, such as the description we just gave of how reality is actually structured, it's not something you have to learn to do. You just are in the process of realizing that you have always been doing it. You're just looking at it differently, looking at it more consciously, and thus you can use what you've already been doing in a different way. But you don't have to learn, bless you, to do it. You already do it automatically. You're just becoming aware that you're already doing it, and that's what makes the difference. Make sense? Yes. All right.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Thank you for being here today. What is the highest potential for the human experience?
The fourth density experience, which means you can experience the concept that you sometimes euphemistically refer to as heaven on earth. Everyone absolutely having what they need, when they need it, in absolute harmony with every aspect of your experience, being full-fledged expressions of creation in the way that is unique for you to express. It's how our civilization functions. We operate on what we call pure synchronism. Everyone is exactly where they need to be, when they need to be there, interacting with exactly who they need to interact with at exactly the right moment, getting exactly what they need in perfect exchange, in perfect harmony, in perfect timing. It's a choreography, it's an orchestration, it's automatic. That's all there is to it. It's like living in a dream, because you start to realize that physical reality is a dream, and that you can have manifestations that you would have in the past simply recognized as magical. But you see, as we have often said, miracles are not the exception. Miracles are the natural order of things. Not experiencing them is the exception. So you are giving up being the exception and going into the flow of creation in a more natural way, beginning to realize that surrender is not giving up control. Surrender is allowing the control you already have to express itself more freely. It's understanding that going with the flow means that the current already knows where you need to go, instead of swimming upstream with resistance. Because the physical mind thinks it knows what's best. The physical mind isn't designed to know that. The physical mind doesn't have a clue. Well, now and then, maybe a hint. But the physical mind is only designed to experience what's happening. The higher mind is designed to know what needs to happen in order to bring to your physical individual experience as a personality everything you need in your life that is relevant for you in order to experience the fullness of your being in complete and total joy and ecstasy. That is the potential in all of you, should you choose to awaken to it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. It's beautiful.
Anything else?
Yes. I really like to study astrology.
Go right ahead.
And it gives me lots of permission slips to be who I am. And
Yes, all right. Then whatever you're attracted to will work for you for the duration of the time that you're attracted to it.
I'm curious, astrology, it's when we look at our natal chart, it's our birth chart, a moment of time that we're born.
Yes.
Is there, from your perception of us in the room now, are you able to see and identify different energies in our being?
Yes.
And is that constantly changing, or is there something that's
constantly
fixed within
changing?
us?
There are some things that in a sense seem to be the same, but you are constantly recreating it to appear that way. So continuity is also an illusion, but it's an illusion that can serve you to create what you perceive to be stability in your reality. Nevertheless, it's constantly changing. Nothing is static. Remember that that's the fifth law. Everything changes except the laws. Mm-hmm. Nothing ever stops. It's dynamically, constantly changing. But there are patterns to it, in a sense. But it's not so much just this, it's this. You understand the difference?
No.
You may feel that there are ups and downs in the changes, but that doesn't mean you're always on the same level. The ups and downs can actually be raising your vibration so that your overall arc is up.
I see. Yes, and what I find in the trends in astrology is if I find a place where I have a weakness or a trigger to something, and
yes,
if it's painful and fearful,
yes,
that's actually a huge potential for growth.
Absolutely. That's an opportunity to take that moment and stay in that moment and find out what the definitions are that would be generating that experience of pain. Mm-hmm. Yes? That's the whole point, is to experience that process. The process is the point. As you have heard on your planet, the journey is the destination. You have nowhere more important to be than dealing with what's happening right now, ever. You have nowhere more important to be.
So can I take it as a map?
In a sense, you can, as long as you understand it's a reflection, not something that controls anybody. Mm-hmm. It's a reflection of decisions and choices that have been made from different levels of consciousness, and therefore, yes, you can kind of read it as a map, but you will also have to rely on your own intuition to allow parts of it to stand out in ways that might be a little bit different than what you may have originally learned to do with it. Because as you change, the way in which you use that permission slip will also change. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yeah.
What is the purpose in experiencing meaning to life? If this is all a dream state, why do we need to be here and just exist?
You don't just exist. You experience, you grow, you change, you discover. It adds to your soul's experience. It adds to the idea of creation as it expands. Because again, as we have said, the structure of existence never changes. The way creation expands is through the idea of different experiences, different relationships, and different perspectives of it by you and your experience in the realm that you're in, such as physical reality. Calling it just a dream is not an understanding of the idea and the power behind experiencing the dream in the way that you have constructed it. It gives you an opportunity to experience something you cannot experience in spirit in a timeless state. And that has great value and great power to it. So it's not just about existing. It's about creating, acting, being, not just existing.
So when you talked about the neutral needs,
Yes.
are those across the board for all life, or is it just for this realm? The idea of creative expression is one of the neutral needs that we have.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering if, consciousness itself is wired with that same basic need to have creative expression. And that's why there are so many things to experience now because of that drive.
Yes, it is in a sense built into consciousness because everyone is a different expression of all that is, and therefore has its own need to express itself as a reflection. Now, the other things, of course, are more determined by the physical reality that you experience or the level of dimension that you're experiencing. Some things are not necessary in other dimensions. But the idea of creative expression is a very fundamental concept to your very existence, to your very nature, as an expression, as a reflection of all that is.
So if you went back 800,000 human years ago and looked at the universe.
Yes, well, first of all, you'd be very cold because 800,000 years ago, the Earth was entirely encased in ice.
Okay.
Scientists call it a frozen snowball.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to when human beings were here on the planet. Okay. And
There were human beings at the time, but they existed in a very narrow band of climate.
I guess what I'm getting at is if you were to look at the universe as a whole, and all of the different forms of manifestation and drama,
One moment. There has been an error in translation. 800 million years ago, the Earth was a frozen snowball before humanity existed. Nevertheless, there have been ice ages on your planet where humanity has existed in a narrow band of climate. We apologize for the mistranslation.
I guess the question is more, is there a complexification where things get more and more complex in the overall area of existence? If you look at the human timeline, and see how different the universe or the multiverse looks, since consciousness is always creating more and more and more, right? That's what it does. It creates.
Yes, when you talk about different levels of complexity, however, you must understand that that's a relative thing. So, to the idea of the human mind 800,000 years ago, there were certain things that would represent complexity to them or simplicity to them that are different from the things that represent those same concepts to you in your so-called modern age. So it can be just as complex, but not necessarily expressed in the same way.
Um, the concept of as above, then so below, does that refer to one above and we are the below, or is there a below that is below us that makes us above?
The idea is that physical reality is vibrationally lower as you understand these things, vibrationally below spirit vibration. Spirit vibration is the above. Physical reality experience is the lower vibration and thus is below. Below that are simply your own projections of portions of your own consciousness that reflect to you things like belief systems, especially the idea of fear-based and negative ones, which are of a very low vibration. However, the idea that these things exist in the sub and unconscious mind as beliefs is actually paradoxical because all you're getting is a reflection of belowness, making you feel like the idea of the subconscious and unconscious are, so to speak, below you, but they're actually vibrationally above you because they're closer to the idea of the non-physical higher mind. So you can have a reflection that you've created that is seemingly below you, but physical reality is the lowest vibration authentically compared to spirit. Now, there are other realities that are more dense than yours. You can consider those vibrationally to be below your experience of reality. But on your world, the vibrations of physical reality are the lowest that you actually authentically go, even though you may create the illusions of something even lower.
And what is the best approach to the art of acting in order to achieve the greatest performance? Please explain if it has to do with channeling, which it may not. Is the actor channeling a person that is simultaneously existing in a parallel universe, or is the actor creating something new? Perhaps even a completely different and new person. New in regards to this plane that we know time to exist in.
We have to be cautious about the idea of your terminology when you say completely new. There may be an infinite number of combinations that are completely probable and possible for someone to bring through in a form of channeling, which is what the best acting actually is, in tapping into parallel reality versions. that can be representative of the different characters, in the sense that you may be combining from different parallel realities and presenting a new character in that sense, in the new combination of tapping into different parallel realities to create that character. You could say, in a sense, that the character is new, a new expression, one of the expansions of the idea of how creation expands, because it's a new relationship, it's a new perspective, it's a new experience, but it's made out of a combination of things that already exist. And in that sense is not completely new, but it can be a new expression in the way that you understand that term. Acting on the level that you're talking about is channeling, although channeling is not acting.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have various questions too, and you may have answered a lot of questions I have with her question.
That's all right. I haven't answered yours.
That's true. I know my passion.
And that would be?
Music.
All right.
But I have a difficult...
All right, now one moment before you go on.
Okay.
Remember also that we talk about the idea of following your passion, following your excitement, and also, in this context today, the passion, the desire we're talking about is also for changing core belief. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, continue.
Well, the core belief I want to change is I've been a healer for 15 years, and
All right.
I'm angry.
You're angry, an angry healer.
That's right, Bashar. I'm feeling that anger.
A no-nonsense, knock-down, drag-out, angry healer.
Yes.
All right.
I'm ready to give it up.
Are you?
Yes, I want to, but it's the money.
It's the money.
The surviving.
The surviving. Ooh, not even living. Surviving. Ooh.
And the funny thing is that I'm abundant right now.
I see.
I am being very well taken care of through my husband.
Yes.
But
That's a form of abundance.
Yes. But I want to find self-sufficiency.
Well, go right ahead.
And I want to go for my music. I want to let go of the healership.
Go right ahead.
But how...
However, I understand you are physical beings. Please pay attention to your true system of beliefs. I know you want to get to the core things and change these, but while you are holding on to certain beliefs, don't short-circuit yourself by moving into something you say is your passion sooner than your belief systems are honestly ready to let you do. Otherwise, you will just wind up jumping off a cliff and suddenly being surprised that you can't fly. As long as you still hold on to the belief that you will not fly, it would be wise not to jump off the cliff. Or at least start climbing down the cliff. As long as you believe your belief systems can support you that far, you can start some level of your passion, but respect where your beliefs actually are, and that simply takes honest self-assessment to find out what those definitions are so that you're not fooling yourself into thinking you're truly ready to live your passion when you yourself have contrary beliefs about that. So it's all right to take your time, is all we are saying, as long as you respect where you're truly at with it. Now, if you really feel that you can take a bigger leap than you have before, then by all means take whatever leap you are comfortable with, but make sure it's simply as much as you possibly can do in the direction of your passion while respecting where you're really at. I'm not saying be hesitant. I'm saying have true recognition of what your beliefs will really allow you to do. Because sometimes when you take that leap and feel that you've gone through an experience where taking that leap has suddenly smacked you in the face like a brick wall, that experience itself is for the purpose of putting you in touch with other beliefs you may still be holding on to that didn't really allow you to take the leap you wanted. And so that's okay too. You follow me?
Yes.
Just use the experience that way, and you will be using it, let's say, appropriately. Nevertheless, you want to do your music instead of your healing, although there isn't necessarily that much difference between the two, is there?
I'm not sure yet.
Well, is not healing vibration?
Yes.
Is not music vibration?
True.
Does not music heal?
True.
Well, you can still be a healer and be a musical one. Maybe you're just angry with yourself for not being the kind of healer you would actually rather be. Yes, no, maybe?
Yes. Well,
All right.
I'm also experiencing guilt with that because
Let's pile on the negative beliefs. Let's make it that much more difficult. Not only am I angry that I'm not doing what I want, but I'm also guilty about not doing it. Bad me, shame on me. Let's really pile on the difficulty level instead of just doing what I want. Let's spend more time processing all the things I want to judge about myself. Now, you understand, I'm not making fun of you, yes?
I understand.
All right. However, sometimes humans are so easy to make fun of. We just can't help ourselves. Because we don't have TV. You put on quite a show, all of you, and we are more than happy to watch. However, this is an interactive show. So, what do you gain? And here's where we connect. Very good for asking the question, very good for making the statement. Brilliant, thank you. Here's where we connect to the idea of really exploring core beliefs, because, as we have said, the beliefs you hold on to, the definitions you hold on to because you want to. You never hold on. You will never, I guarantee it, believe me, you will never hold on to a belief or a definition, no matter how negative, that you don't define as working for you on some level. If you hold on to it, it's because you think it serves you to hold on to it. Because you've defined it in a way that says, as uncomfortable as it is to hold on to this belief, the alternative is scarier. So this makes me feel more comfortable, so I'll keep it, thank you. You will never hold on to that belief if you actually believed this was more advantageous. But if you're scared of this choice, you will think this is more advantageous, to hold on to what you know, to hold on to what you're familiar with. As uncomfortable as it may be, it's familiar, and sometimes that's why the symbol on the Enneagrammatic circuit, the last one is the unknown. Sometimes you define the unknown as scarier, and you'd rather have the familiar, as unpleasant as it is. And there it is again, another example of attaching definition to things. This is horrible, it's horrible, it's horrible. I can't stand it, I can't stand it, I can't stand it, but I can't stand that more. When you switch that idea, believe me, you will let go of this instantly and attach to that immediately. As soon as you change the definition of what actually serves you better, as soon as you get in touch with that core belief that going in this direction will actually be the best thing for you, you will immediately do so, and believe me, nothing will stop you. Nothing. Nothing gets in your way. Nothing gets in your way. Everything you're doing because you choose to do it, because you've defined it as the best thing for you to do by comparison to this other option. But if you know that other option could serve you, you simply have to get in touch with the rest of the definitions that don't allow you to automatically choose it, that don't allow you to feel that it would. And that's usually the definition that does that. Is this making some sense to you?
Yes, I just want to feel it so I can go.
All right. Well, as you say, first of all, you're angry about doing something that's not really who you are. All right, that's fine. Natural anger, shall we call it alignment, energy alignment, that's what it's doing. It's aligning you with your truth. natural anger lasts about, 15 seconds. Anything beyond that is judgment. You understand?
Yes.
Natural anger is energy alignment. It's the recognition that a thing is not you by comparison. And you go, oh, no, not me. That's not who I am. But that's all anger actually is. If it lasts longer than that, that's where these other definitions of judgment come in. Oh, guilty. Guilty for not choosing this sooner. Now I'm really angry. And the guilt feeds the judgmental version of anger and perpetuates and magnifies that. And you spend your day going around in circles dealing with that, instead of simply using the anger in a positive way and say, oh, this version of healing is not who I am. All right. This is. And start moving in that direction, because you know that's who you are. And because you know that's who you are, you know that's what will support you. Because what excites you the most comes as a complete kit. Otherwise, it would be pointless. If what excited you the most couldn't support you in the reality you've chosen to be in, there would be no point in that being the thing that excites you. Because it wouldn't allow you to do that thing. It wouldn't allow you to continue to move in that direction if it didn't come with the ability to bring you what you need to continue to move in that direction. So you can even logic this out for yourself if that's the facility that works best for you, and recognize that there would be no reason for you to get excited about something if it didn't contain the ability to do that thing, to continue your excitement. Do you follow me?
I follow you.
Is this making sense and dollars to you?
I'm feeling it, yes.
All right. Now, if the other issues come up, I'm unsure about this, I'm unsure about that, I'm not good enough for this, I'm not qualified for that, I don't know enough about this, I don't know enough about that. Do what you need to do to gain the information and experience that you need, knowing that that's not a path toward your excitement, that all those things are part of your excitement. They're just different perspectives, different variations of it. Different parts of the process of living your excitement. It's all living your excitement. And you can use even what you've been doing as part of your excitement, because it's finally brought you to a place where it's become clear what you are not. And sometimes people on earth have to simply figure out what they are by first figuring out what they are not. Sometimes it just works best that way for some of you, because now you know where you don't want to go. And that helps you really define where you do want to go. And if you worked it that way, bless it. It got you to this realization. So don't be angry with it. Don't be angry with yourself. Use it. Say, aha, freedom, release, insight, inspiration. The path I've been on, the things I've been doing have brought me to this realization. Hallelujah.
Got you. Thank you, Bashar.
If you don't use your life up to this point that way, it's like having a path of stepping stones and saying, I invalidate the stepping stones I have been walking on. If you invalidate them, if you judge them as unworthy of having been there, they will vanish experientially, and thus then how can they get you to where you want to go? How can they lead you to the rest of the stepping stones if you invalidate the stones you've stepped on?
I think it's the fear of crossing over and how I'm going to be supported financially to get to that level of my passion.
Yes.
I don't want to go to work at Mickey D's. And even though that my husband is supporting me, I keep thinking, I really want to let go of the massage.
Yes.
I do. I
All
have
right.
to.
Then
But
do what you can in the direction of your highest joy to the degree that your belief system will allow you to. Start there. Go as far as you believe you are willing to believe you can be supported.
Okay.
And don't discount any avenue that you really believe is a representation of your excitement in any form.
Okay.
But also, don't put conditions on yourself. You see, what you just did in that last sentence was bring up a flurry of belief systems and conditions. The only way I can get there and support myself is by working here or doing this job I don't like. I have to do it that way. No, you don't. But you have just revealed to yourself all the belief systems you have about that. So that's good. You've just made yourself transparent, and now you can deal with why you are afraid to take that step. You are afraid to take that step because you have a definition that says you must do it in a way that is unpleasant for you, that is not preferred. But that's not necessarily an empirical truth. It's just your definition that says that. So get in touch with why you have that definition and why you've made it real, and make it unreal. Because it doesn't have to be real, does it? One of the wonderful, wonderful things that exists is that there are other people. Other people act as shining examples of what's possible. If someone else can do it, you can do it. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's why all of you, really, most importantly, can be examples to everyone else by really following your passion. Because when you see someone else do it, it's not that you have to do it exactly the same way, but if they did it, that means it's possible for you. If you have attracted yourself into their life, or at least attracted them into your life enough to be aware of them and what they've done, then be inspired by the fact that they've done it as knowledge. As knowledge that if you've attracted them into your life as an example, that's a sign, that's a marker that you've done that to show yourself you are capable of the same thing. So if they created abundance in their lives in a fantastically rich, effortless, fun, and playful way, so can you. If the example exists anywhere and you can see it or be aware of it, it means you're capable of the same thing, or the example would never have come into your life, because there are no accidents. Does that make sense?
Yes, it frees me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar.
This, and what we are talking about in this kind of dialogue, is not just a precursor to the idea of getting in touch with core beliefs. Everything we are saying has everything to do with really using this example, as we just pointed out in this last conversation, as an example of having your own dialogue at the same time and using this and applying it to your own situation to get in touch with your beliefs and your underlying beliefs and your core beliefs. All of this is part of the process. We are not stepping aside from all the other information we're talking about. This is part of the information. These dialogues are part of the information, part of the process in action. So pay attention to that. Are there more clarifications and questions?
Hello, dear Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm just step on the path when I'm trying to explore who I am and why I'm here.
Yes.
And it brings also tremendous responsibilities because it's
Stop. Before you go on, are you defining the term responsibility in a positive or negative way?
Positive.
All right. Go ahead.
And it's interesting, like you said, there's no accidents in the universe.
No.
And more I'm getting, I feel like I'm just on the baby level to be on that road, but I'm getting...
You all are.
Thank you. But I'm getting more and more.
And so are we.
Thank you.
We are always all learning. There is no end. So, we are all masters, and we're all on the baby level. And a master knows they're on the baby level. That's what makes them a master. Continue.
It's interesting that I'm getting more and more information about stuff what even hard to comprehend by human mind, but it's very exciting and very interesting about the answer to question why I'm here.
Yes.
And I would like you, would you please scan my energy and maybe ask the guys on the other side.
The guys?
To get their permission. Because in a way, I feel that me and you are related.
In a sense, we are speaking to the people we are speaking to because there is an energetic connection. Otherwise, you'd be talking to someone else. So there is a relationship, there is a relatedness to the energy connection. Now, with their permission, your permission, and this goes for all of you, individually as well as collectively, what will help clarify some of these issues is information that does already exist. If you're not aware of it yet, it would be perhaps advantageous for you to become aware of this information. And it is in the form of what we will suggest as 3 books. Read Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, and the newest Conversations with God book called Home with God. All 3 are specifically about choosing from the spirit level the idea of physical reality and what goes into it and why you choose those things and why you wind up where you wind up. Educate yourself, if you have not done so yet, with the information in those books. They will help you synthesize a better and clearer understanding of the processes and mechanisms that go on in the spirit world that wind up in what your lives turn out to be, and thus, in some senses, answer many of the questions as to why is this happening? Why am I this person? So read those 3 books, see what that does, process that information, and see if it will take you further toward answering the why. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, one moment. One moment. Are you specifically or strongly attracted to the color lavender or the flower?
Yes.
All right. This is, again, coming from your guides as a very good focusing element for you. It puts you, in a sense, helps you put yourself in the proper vibrational state to best absorb this kind of information. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also have a question, more specific question.
Yes.
Is one of my guide extraterrestrial?
Yes.
Can you name
No.
him? Okay, thank you. My other question, and this was piquing my curiosity recently, it's about, and you brought it many times and even today, that it's no such thing as a past life, reincarnations, all lives are going on simultaneously.
Yes, you can experience it as a past life, but they don't really exist in the past because there's no such thing. Everything exists now.
Yes, but my question is, can I change my frequency to experience those lives and then change my frequency to the present frequency? And
yes.
Is it any effects of those parallel lives on a current frequency life?
Yes, of course. They're all interconnected. There is constant communication and bleed through of information and experiences crossing all those lives. Constantly. You may not always know where it comes from, where an inspiration suddenly comes from, but it might be coming from an experience in another parallel life that you know you can use in this life, and so you simply make a connection, download the information, and use it without necessarily having to know it's coming in that sense from another life. You understand?
Yes, but how I can achieve that? I was
you don't necessarily always want to know where it's coming from, because that might slow down your ability to actually use that information in this life. When you need to know where it comes from, you will.
All right.
You can be open to exploring that idea, and when and where it's important for you to know that it's part and parcel of another life experience your oversoul may be having, then you'll know. But if you don't know, it's not always important for you to know, because it may not be part of your experience here to know specifically where that information comes from, because you need to use it in this life in the way you need to use it, not in the way that version of you needed to use it. Make sense?
Yes.
But if it excites you to explore that idea, see where your excitement takes you without expectation. Because remember, you're choosing to live this life,
yes,
not become the other lives. Although you can connect to them, just use your imagination. The lavender may help with that as well.
Thank you.
But you may only at first get very quick flashes. That may be enough. Don't insist on more. Just take it the way it comes, because that's the way it serves you. And if it needs to come in longer flashes and longer understandings of what's going on in different lives, then the more you do it, it may come that way if it needs to. All right?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.